All right, welcome to Polynomials, and this is the special products section. So when we're talking about special products, we're talking about two very specific different types of multiplications of binomials, okay? And the first one is squaring a binomial and what that pattern looks like. So I have a couple of examples here really broken down based off of what does squaring actually mean, and then using the FOIL method. So we're going to start by looking at x plus 9 quantity squared. And what does that actually mean? That actually means that I'm taking the quantity x plus 9 and I'm multiplying it by itself, by x plus 9. So then we can use the FOIL method from this step, okay, to get to this next step. We do x times x is x squared. X times 9 is 9x. 9 times x is 9x. And 9 times 9 is 81. And then we combine the like terms to get 18. And then we start noticing some patterns. Well, x times x is x squared. 9 times 9 is 81. So we're going to start to notice some things here where you have the first term squared is going to be the first term in the trinomial. The second term squared in the binomial is going to be the third term in the trinomial. And then if we multiply the first and the second together and then by 2, we get that third or that middle part of the trinomial. Now let's see what happens when we have a negative instead. So here's another one where I have y minus 7 quantity squared. So it's the same thing as saying y minus 7 times y minus 7. And then we use the same FOIL process. Y times y is y squared. Y times negative 7 is negative 7. Negative 7 times y is negative 7y. And then negative 7 times negative 7, because I multiplied two negatives together, is a positive 49. So again, I have the first term squared gives me that first term in the trinomial. The second term squared gives me that third term in the trinomial. And then if we were to multiply the second term with the first term, negative 7y, and then multiply it by 2, we'd end up with the middle part of the trinomial. So this is what it actually looks like. And then there's another example there. But what it actually looks like is pretty much the same pattern over and over again. The only difference is the positive and the negative symbols. If it's a positive, all of these terms are positive. If it's negative, just the first sign is negative, everything else is positive. Where A is my first term in the binomial, B is my second term in the binomial. Okay, so this is meant to be a shortcut, and if it's not, then it's okay. But I notice here that for my first example, I have x plus 5, which would fall under that first example there. So I'm just going to square the first term, which is x squared. I'm going to multiply the first and the second term together, which would be 5x, and then multiply it by 2. So plus 10x, and then I squared the second term to get my last one, which would be 25, and that would be the answer for this problem. In my next example, I have here a negative. So it would follow the second equation right here. So I'm going to have the y squared is going to be my first term in the trinomial. Then I'm going to multiply y times negative 3, which is negative 3y, and then I'm going to multiply by 2. So I have negative 6y. And then my last term is always going to be positive, and that's 3 squared, which is 9. And that's my answer for that example. So again, you are just following the pattern. You follow the pattern for all of these. Okay, so the next one. I have my first term is 4x, so I'm going to do 4x squared. And then I'm going to add, because it's positive, I'm going to multiply the 6 times the 4x and multiply by 2. So 4 times 6 is 24x. And then I'm going to do 6 squared. And I'm just showing you here exactly what I'm doing instead of doing it verbally. So now keep in mind, I'm raising the x to the power of 2 and I'm raising the 4 to the power of 2. So 4 squared is 16 and x squared is 2 plus 48x plus 36. And that would be the answer for that example. Okay, so for my last example here, so I'm going to square 2x. Then I'm going to do 2x times negative 3y. Keep in mind that's going to end up being negative. And I'm going to multiply it by 2. So I have 2 times 3, 6xy. And then my final term is going to be the second term in the binomial squared. So 3y squared. So again, I'm going to raise the 2 to the second power and the x to the second power. So 4x squared minus 12xy plus, and again, same thing here, 3 squared and y squared, so 9y squared. And that's your answer. Again, you're following the patterns for all of these. All right, so here's another one. We have products of conjugates. Most commonly known as difference of two squares. And I have to say, this is my favorite one. And the reason why it's my favorite one is because I have two things that are being multiplied together. One of them is positive, one of them is negative, and notice my first and my second term for both of these binomials are the same. So what actually ends up happening really nicely, if you were to FOIL this out, the middle two terms would end up becoming 0 when you combine the like terms. And so this right here is always going to be your answer. The first term squared minus the second term squared. So this is what it would look like. Okay, those two are the same. Those two are the same. One's positive, one's negative. So I can follow my difference of two squares pattern, which is the first term, x squared, minus the second term, which is 8 squared, 64. That's your answer. It's really that easy. You're just following the patterns for these. Okay, so 2x is my first term for both of them. 5 is my term for the second one, one positive, one negative, which means to say I have 2x that needs to be squared minus the 5 that needs to be squared. So my answer for multiplying these out is going to be 4x squared minus 25. That's it. Last one. First term's the same, second term's the same, one positive, one negative. So I'm going to have my first term squared minus my second term squared. Okay, so that's 9 minus 25x squared. And guess what, guys? We are all done. That's the answer. That's it. Follow the patterns. That's all you got to do. Those are the special products. Easy peasy. Follow the patterns. See you next time.